Okay, we should be live now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this 144K December 21st Solstice Mass Meditation. And welcome to everyone who is new. This is a major closure of the closure or closing year number 9, as reported. And I'll also be updating you on some great news tomorrow or the next day. The latest from the positive military. You got that to look forward to. All I can say for now is that we can, I'm not going to say confirm, let's just say there are strong indicators that the 144K has contributed to moving things forward. So there's not exactly an insider, but is connected to insiders, has said he was not expecting things, whether it's med beds or free energy or whatever, to move so fast, to happen so quickly. And I'll be getting into that in the next day or two. So very exciting stuff. It's paying off. And, I want to congratulate everyone who's participated in the past on a regular or not so regular basis. It's really paying off. So interesting that this new moon period is aligning with the galactic central sun. That even surprised me. And rest assured, folks, we putting one foot in front of the other, working diligently every 2 weeks, has done a lot more than just keep us alive and keep us stable and stabilizing the whole planet. Much more than that. Okay, now begin the process of bringing yourself into the now moment that allows you to, which acts as a portal to, anything, basically, certainly outside the matrix, certainly to your higher self, your soul over soul and I am. The now is the portal. And breathe deeply and slowly through your nose. In other words, meditate in that conventional, passive sense of the word. I'm going to be silent for a couple of minutes while you bring yourself into state through the now. Let go of linear time that keeps you outside the now and in the matrix, by only focusing on the now. and continue the deep process, that sacred moment. Move into that sacred moment of the now. As the time, the divine right time, draws near. Breathing in deeply and slowly through your nose. Now, if you have guides that you consciously work with, you can call them in now. Okay, fantastic. Now, let's begin that unique process, I guess, for a mass meditation group of multiplying the power and impact of this mass meditation by 100, if not more. I'm just being conservative there, by going up to beyond multiversal levels of light, beyond the multiverses. See yourself in a gigantic crystal ball, a very translucent silver crystal ball, and you're standing closer to the equator on the inside, facing towards the middle, and look all around and see all your beloved, and I do mean that, your beloved 144K brethren, brothers and sisters in arms, evenly spaced in their golden light bodies or essence. In other words, who you really are, evenly spaced all around the inside of the equator. And now Let's call in Gaia. And some of you goddesses will have your own connection with Gaia. You can call her in your own way. Otherwise, just follow along. Authentic Gaia. Authentic Gaia. We call upon the one true authentic goddess, Gaia. Please be here with us. And see Gaia in the middle. Of this giant crystal ball. Adore and admire her beautiful polar ice caps. And now, simply just allow yourself, remember the golden rule, to move into the right hemisphere of your brain that has no limitations, that always delivers intent or answers the question that you ask, always, never fails, through the now, through non-trying. It happens instantaneously before you get a chance to think. That's what it's there for. It's all right hemisphere. Well, it's not thinking. Right hemisphere software and the software program that it runs on is kind of hidden in the false label of imagination. You can never imagine anything that doesn't already exist in the subconscious or superconscious mind. And my job is to help you tap in. If you follow that simple sort of principle and protocols. Adore Gaia, the sacred one. And now we start to move up through the layers of this universe, the different membranes, remaining false realities and overlays. It's not just dimensions and densities. Zooming up the layers of this universe at incredible speeds. And just allow yourself to notice that soft flickering light through the translucent walls of the crystal ball, each flicker representing a layer, a realm, either organic or false. What's left of them anyway. Like zooming up going up a super fast glass elevator. Everything you can imagine is real. As that genius Pablo Picasso once said. As you focus inward, it's okay if the image is faint. Just have Gaia in the center. As we rapidly approach that last thick outer boundary of this universe. As you relax and hold that internal imagery to honor and enable your soul mission, and far more of its potential. As we're about to break through that last thick outer boundary of this universe, take that last glance at Gaia and your next couple of 144K brethren, over to your left and right. And then all of a sudden, everything goes bright white. It's so bright, you have to squint your eyes as we push through that last thick outer boundary of this universe. You can barely see Gaia in the middle. And the brightness just disappears. And you see a big ball of light that is the universe that we just left. Rapidly turn into a small ball of light, and we rise above a whole ocean of small balls of light. And we rise, that all shrinks down into a oneness that is the multiverse that we just left. And now we rise above a whole ocean of multiverses. Again, this increases the power and the impact of our mass meditations. And that all just disappears, shrinks down as we continue to ascend. Look all around. Gaia in the middle, the sacred dotted golden ring that is all the other 144K members. You can take that one glance at your guides if you have them. Other than that, just adore and admire Gaia in the middle. Translucent silver background of the crystal ball in the background. While I quickly do some protocols, enjoy. I'll call upon authentic heart, we call upon the one true authentic light beings, the heart. Please make sure we go to you and no one else, true heart. And you look up above Gaia, up at the crystal ball, and you see a single point of white light. through the roof of the crystal ball, and it gets bigger and bigger and brighter. Until the whole roof of the crystal ball is bright white. And we're still approaching it. And we finally reach it. We come to a sudden, yet somehow gentle stop. And we slowly, lovingly, and gently move through this platform of light as it lovingly envelops the crystal ball and all of us and the sacred goddess, Gaia. As we move through, closes at the bottom, opens up at the top. As we rise above, as we gently nestle on top of this crystal, on top of this platform of light, I should say. And now we form a straight line behind and above Gaia. The crystal ball peels evenly and slowly downward. Nice and slow to allow for a more gentle acclimation to this super high frequency light, especially if you're new. Just watch it come down, peel downwards, past the halfway point. All the way down. Let go and trust in the science of the right hemisphere of your brain, delivering to you your intent. You just have to be quick enough to catch it. Again, faint images work just fine. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. Again, if you're new, some of you will be yawning or burping, usual physical symptoms of release. As the crystal ball peels all the way to the bottom and disappears, now look up and see and feel these managers of multiverses mandated by Source. commissioned by a source to clean things up, shall we say, namely the virus that infected so many other universes. If you're new, you may simply be seeing them as light beings, very translucent. They may appear pretty up close, but they're actually about 2,000 universes away in terms of space dimension. And now for this very sacred moment, very empowering moment of being really present in the now with them, in a deep meditative state with them, because being with them clears your aura to a very significant degree. Again, if you're new and not used to this level of super high frequency light, you may have trouble staying awake. And that's fine. Relax. And we're going to spend the next couple of minutes or so going deeper and feel their unique energy signature to adjust, to acclimate. Again, this is all about setting the stage for far greater impact on the planet, to heal the world, to free the world, and then even in your own life. So just look at them, increase your connection by looking at them, feeling them, and have a little bit of background consciousness on the center of your head initially. Where some of our higher senses are. And remember, be in that deep, breathe through your nose deeply and slowly, very important. It really helps the brainwave states lower from, well, alpha will do, the non-trying state, but also helps you go into upper theta. Feel what they feel like while I be silent, so that we all go deep. Together in unity. Authentic God, can you please send us a massive wave of your energy so we can truly feel you to an undeniable, unmistakable physical level.
Breathe deeply and slowly as you look at them, be with them, meditate on them. From the place and space of non-thinking, it doesn't have to be perfect imagery at all. Be in the now, that's your access portal. Non-trying. It's all instantaneous. And it's okay if you take some time to feel them or you hardly feel them, because the more further away in terms of density any light being is, the more subtle their energy is. So take your time. This is a sacred, extremely empowering step. Nice. And sometimes it's normal for it to take a few minutes, even for me, because they sort of have to work through huge amounts of noise, blocks, layers of it within our respective auric fields to be able to feel them at the bodily level. That's why it takes a few minutes. Again, it really clears your field, just being with them. Authentic God, please send us a massive wave of your energy into our hearts. Engage the heart center. And now have a little bit of background consciousness on your heart or chest area, or sternum even. Meditate away in bliss as you look at them, this stupendous, panoramic, majestic scene. The Sacred Heart. As you're continually getting pumped full of light, technically, or should I say literally, ascending you. That's the way the 144K mass meditations roll. Be in the now, totally, completely dismiss linear time that keeps your consciousness trapped within the matrix. Forget about everything. Be here. Way up here. Because your consciousness, which is who you really are, already is everywhere. Accept that. Accept the truth. The truth is what will set you free, regardless of the event. Just being here, just this process of connection is sacred. Honor that. Pay a little bit of attention. 10% of your consciousness on your heart center. That sacred, subtle feeling of their unique energy signature, upgrading you in the process. Because there's no rush when you're truly in the now, beloved one. Needless to say, this has effectively already begun the mass meditation. Nice. Again, if you're new, It's okay if you didn't feel anything, because this is a new energy that's outside your reference points. So it's normal if it takes more than one go. So don't worry. Just don't hesitate at all. Just throwing caution to the wind and letting it rip, so to speak, through the honoring of one of the highest forms of consciousness that opens it up, referred to as imagination. Like I said, there's no such thing. There is just whatever higher or lower forms of consciousness. And for the most part, that's what runs things. Subtle energies have the biggest impact, the more subtle they are. Okay, return some focus, if you want, back to your guides and Gaia and your other 144K brethren, as I quickly bring in the rest of the teams. Enjoy the show. You are the channel, the conduit for extreme high frequency light, as you remain connected and focused. I call upon the infinite army of the authentic amalgam of the authentic Oberon lineage. I call upon the elders of the amalgam. I call upon the team of beings that created this universe, and the unique plane of physicality as the grand resolution of corralling all dark back to the light. Oberon, they represent themselves as one man. You can see him as a golden being of light. Off to the right, perhaps, just on the other side of Gaia. And now repeat after me. I call upon all of my higher density aspects higher self. See him or her next to Oberon, perhaps. And just look at him or her, what for many of you will simply be either a faint kind of apparition almost, or a crystal clear image. Either one will do, more than do. Okay, repeat after me. I call upon the entirety of my soul and see it as a star, perhaps. It's a field of light, obviously, a ball of light, but see it as such, just up above the hod, perhaps. You're the god or goddess. See it wherever you deem fit. Repeat after me. Pardon me. I call upon my authentic oversoul, which has been described as a larger version of your higher self. See it as another ball of light, slightly bigger behind your soul. You can change the color of it if you like to differentiate. So I'm giving it a minute so that you can connect, kind of like being with your true identity by kind of losing yourself in the now, forgetting about this insanely limited and trapped linear matrix, which is insanely limiting in every sense of the word. So bypass that by losing yourself, for lack of a better way of describing it, in the now. Everything you can imagine, quote unquote, is real. Mainly because when projecting your consciousness from the physical to any non-physical plane or realm or density, you collapse those quantum waveform particles into whatever you want, whatever you visualize. To honor and carry out your soul purpose. Okay, repeat after me. I call upon my authentic I am. And see these long rays of light suddenly emerge, forming a bright ring behind and around your oversoul. Infinite rays of light will just go on forever. Again, if you're new, these are simple, straightforward, but advanced energy working techniques you're learning. And that you can apply in your own life. Authentic Legion of Light. and just kind of play along with the words I speak. Sort of do them to a degree. Authentic Legion of Light. There is Gaia. There is Gaia, the Sacred One, before us. Take us to the space and place of omnipresence to multiply the power and timeline shifting impact of this mass intervention by another 100 times. Now look up briefly from Gaia up to your I am, that is fundamentally omnipresence, as your focus on it. And your intent takes us to omnipresence. And to convince the rational mind of this, see this panoramic view turn bright white. It's so bright you have to squint your eyes again. You can barely see Gaia in front of us. As we are taken to omnipresence, very intense bright white light. Omnipresence throughout the omniverse and all voids. And the bright white light disappears. Everything looks the same. Look all around. Look at your guides. Look at your fellow 144K comrades over to your left and right. And let's begin with looking up at your soul and oversoul and I am for that matter. Now connect with them through your heart. And by the way, if you're struggling in whatever way, ironically, that's a good thing. That's just resistance. Which confirms that you're heading in the right direction. You're doing the right thing. And we're going to clear that. Okay. And repeat after me. Authentic soul, oversoul, and I am. Please gently maximize my soul mission and fulfillment at a far greater potential on this 21st of December, Solstice of 2025. What am I here to do? Okay. Okay, well, all they're allowing us to know is simply mass cleanup, which I'm not surprised because the plasma waves, CMEs, gamma rays, photonic light, even at the physical level, has been hitting the planet so hard, especially these past few weeks, that it's been overwhelming. And it's only overwhelming because of the detoxing process, not the waves of light themselves. The waves of light themselves are critical for freedom. And a general cleanup is needed to be able to see what's underneath, to allow for the next step. So, see, again, for safety and protection, even though we're at this super high frequency level, see Gaia in a quarantine sphere, your color of choice. Okay. And perfect timing, as the actual peak of the solstice is in 1 minute. Thank you, beloved angel, that always whispers in my ear at the right time. And I mean that. Okay, we're surrounded by the team. See Gaia. She's the focal point. We surround her. Teams surround us. As always, if you can't see some of the team, at least see the HOD. These managers of multiverses, 2 of them. On the far side, in the background, because they evenly surround us. And that'll do. Now, bring your I am forward. And 144K veterans will be familiar with this process. It'll be shorter this time because I have a feeling there's one more important thing to do to maximize the closure and timeline jump of this solstice opportunity for those of us that are aware and proactive in taking advantage of it, making the most of it. Okay. So all of our I am, again, this is just incredibly powerful. All of our I am, collective I am of the 144K is now centralized and focused on this one singular point, which is still a fair way above Gaia. Again, adjust your panoramic view. Which collapses the quantum waveform particles as you see fit. So I am about 3 or 4 diameter lengths away above Gaia, who's within the quarantine sphere. The long rays of light hardly or barely even touching the quarantine sphere. Now look at Gaia and turn her, because you can do whatever you want with your consciousness and intent at this level. Turn her into that singular holographic color that represents omnipresence. All relevant densities and frequencies and planes, primarily the physical plane, first, second, and third density at this point, because we've come so far. Down to the subquantum level, subspace. So that color represents omnipresence. Hold the intent or set the intent that nothing escapes your eye in terms of what is keeping us captive and physically trapped on the physical surface of this planet and separate from our galactic families and brethren. Again, try to have some sort of visual of at least your I am and the HOD in the background. So look at your I am, look at the HOD at a minimum. And repeat after me. Authentic soul, over soul, and I am. Authentic managers of multiverses. Authentic source. Honor and actualize my high soul potential. Show anything and everything dark, physical and non-physical, and any dark fields and energies that are behind, holding us captive, that stand between us and our galactic families. Now, well within the quarantine sphere, again, the answer is right where the question is asked or where the intent is set. See without judgment, without analyzing. Trust in that image, your right hemisphere has already delivered, and see it through so-called imagination, one of the highest forms of consciousness. Again, these are power energy working methods. Teams in the background. And allow it all to come up as the teams. Your I am, all your higher aspects, or all your higher levels. Don't let anything limit you. All come up. Now, if I'm far away, it's simply going to look like dark grey, amorphous haze. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Don't try to mold it into something you can understand. You can if you want, but not necessary. Allow. Be in the now, as if you're in that deep meditative state through so-called imagination. Alrighty. Okay. Now, always remember, you can do and change background colors, imagery as you see fit to work with the way your third eye works. Repeat after me. Authentic soul, oversoul I am. Authentic managers of multiverses. Source and legions of light. Maximize my soul potential as gently as possible. Now see, I suppose the long rays of the bottom little portion of your I am, oh so slowly move downward towards the North Pole. Still quite a distance in separation from it because it's so incredibly powerful. Again, by being outside the quarantine sphere, it's not only safe and protective, but your consciousness is not detected. And move down and begin to see, interestingly, there's kind of like a thin grey translucent sort of sphere well outside of Gaia. And then there's the blackness within the atmosphere, let alone the surface of Gaia. I've never really seen that. There's still quite a distance between the two, meaning the dark, thick greyness within the atmosphere of Gaia and this outer, thin, grey, translucent shell or sphere well outside the atmosphere, pretty much low Earth orbit. Let me know if you saw the same thing on Telegram, in the Telegram chat. I'm curious. Either way, always remember, especially if you're new, you'll only see what it is that your particular, unique, sole purpose, pre-assigned task is meant to see. And as we all do that, all the pieces of the puzzle fall in place on this sacred solstice moment for incredible synergy. That increases the power of this mass meditation even more, yet again. This is why another reason why 144K meditations are so timeline changing, literally. The track record is there. I don't have time to get into the details of that. As you move, as your I am, the outer, incredibly massive outer field of your I am, well, all of our collective I am focused in this one central spot, which itself is unprecedented, begins to, I'm going to use the term perturbate, shake up, ruffle up, and also transmute. Whatever it is that you see, either above or pretty much at the North Pole. Remember, Gaia herself also has her outer auric layers that's full of pretty bad, traumatic, electromagnetic imprints that serve as blocks, that blocks the light. Or more to the point these days, makes the light have to force blocks out in a volatile, jarring way, which is the only thing that's really made ascension so difficult, especially in 2025. But we're removing that by intervening to make the whole process not just far quicker, but far more smoother, without such horrible, volatile kick up of dark blocks of whatever kind. So enjoy the show as you see the outer field of our collective I am. Again, the long rays, white rays of infinite rays of your I am, just the bottom portion, that's all you can see. Within your upper periphery is still quite a distance, way above the North Pole. And again, your consciousness is what really shapes things, what allows things, let alone actualizes it. Now see whatever it is that you see per your soul, unique soul talents and purpose and pre-assigned task for this solstice. See movement, ruffling above the North Pole or way above the North Pole like I am. And see the I am just gently, again, veterans will know this process, at whatever layer you're working on, per the original intent and command, start to shake up and start to turn white as if it's getting burnt, but it's getting transmuted. And see that white, flashing, bright, transmuting light very slowly begin to move inward and outward of that top layer of grayness. Or blackness above the North Pole. And it's doing a lot more than transmuting entities and energies. It's transmuting frequency. It's transmuting programs. It's dissolving portals. Well, dark portals and wormholes down to the subquantum level. Networks, pre-ancient, magic-like technologies that not necessarily blocking the light, but resisting the light, causing resistance in all of us, in the human collective. And try to expand your vision. Do what you want with background colors to help with visualization. As we begin to move downward, really cleansing, transmuting en masse. Initially the upper atmosphere, way above the North Pole. And from an energetic perspective, even if you did see that thin, translucent sort of membrane way outside of Gaia's atmosphere, energetically, because it's dark, it's as solid as all get out. So take the time. This is serious business. That's the nature of your soul purpose. That's existed for millions of years at a minimum. Know it or not. And planetary liberation. And see kind of like an inward and outward spreading mass, intense transmutational white light of essentially your essence, your I am, the love within it, transmuting away. This, of course, allows the light forces, physical and non-physical, of all densities to make big moves because we're clearing the path in the way that only consciousness projection from the physical to the non-physical from the surface of this particular nexus planet can. Can't emphasize that enough. Especially if you're new. Again, you can change the background color of the quarantine sphere into a violet or an indigo, whatever allows you to differentiate between any blocks, darkness. And the white transmutational light that you're channeling, that you're being the divine conduit for. That's why we're here on the surface. Enjoy the spectacle. And as we come closer and closer to the surface of the North Pole, you start to see, kind of like a concave, like a bowl, or like a crater of at the top of a volcano where it all just goes inwards, forming like a dish, like a satellite dish, if you will, going inwards, mimicking the outer field of our collective I am. That's obviously spherical. Now, the more if you're new, be serious, but at the same time detached with the mindset, the limitless mindset of a child. Be willing to go beyond your reference points. That's the secret. Beyond the boundaries of your current level of consciousness. In other words, what you know. Be willing to go beyond that by being that silent witness and trust in the intent that you have set. Now, if you want, you can make the quarantine sphere pretty translucent, where you can see only the outer surface. Again, it's all whatever kind of blocks that stands between us and galactic contact, galactic reunion. for our starseeds initially and humanity, the whole planet. Now, what you're seeing across the top as the outer transmutational field of our I am and the HOD and all the legions of light meet at that point where it meets whatever form of darkness, whether it's a technological veil, grid network, entities, dark energies, mainly third density, second and third, because we're working from omnipresence, so we can do far more. You'll see that rim of transmutational white light begin to go downwards and outwards, forming like that satellite dish. A ring of white light. And it's the equivalent of 1,000,001 500 megaton nuclear bombs going off. That's how much transmutational energy and how much resistance we're removing, how many blocks we're removing. Again, open up your mind, open up your consciousness by letting go and being that silent witness, trusting in your right hemisphere brain through quote unquote imagination. As always, take the occasional brief glance at the teams in the background. Now, there's something like, I don't know, I guess it's part of the veil, what's left of it. There's an extra 2 of these membranes, I'm going to call them. And because we're projecting that are being cleared, and now in the heart of this inwards and outwards moving dish shape or a bowl shape of transmutational light where it meets the dark, begin to see in the very center that white penetrating light, deep in the heart of it, begin to move through the upper atmosphere, because believe me, there's a lot there, a ton there. Again, what we're shooting for here, what the intent is set for, which determines the algorithm of our energetics and purpose, is anything and everything that stands between us and galactic contact and freeing the planet. Full and complete planetary liberation. Set the intent, and your right hemisphere, let alone higher levels, never fail that. Of course, it's always within the broader parameters of the planetary liberation process and what we're ready for at this point in time, but that's the only slight exception. But again, it all radically quickens planetary liberation, radically, let alone makes it much more smoother and softer. Now lower, or should I say, begin to see those long infinite white rays of your I am. Just move a little closer. Still pretty far from needing to touch Gaia because of how incredible its outer field is. When invoked and visualized, feel the intensity. Almost feel like saying that violent clash between the light and the dark. And the light, obviously, transmutational light of our collective. I am moving downwards and now deep in the very bottom and heart of this dish shape, white area, as it moves through whatever grid, whatever negative energy, whatever AI matrix codes, with the odd entity being transmuted, portal, wormhole being closed, or just dissolved. As it moves down, see it, we're about to touch the surface of the North Pole, fourth, third, second and first, physical plane, density. See that in whatever way works for you. And now we're about to break through to the surface, and the surface will be represented by a baby blue color. Just a peek of it. And in about 10 seconds, we're all about to see that together. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and there it is. Just a tiny little point of white, baby blue, deep within this insane, massive transmutational light. And it begins to go bigger and bigger as our collective light goes through the surface as if there's nothing there, because it is all mostly empty space anyway. Going underground now. And remember, the surface area, so lower atmosphere, all the way to underground, at the dumb level, there's a ton there. There's an absolute ton there. That's been exposed and kicked up by the recent incoming light of recent weeks, which is why every couple of months we're having to use this I am behemoth method to clean things up. And now, again, take that occasional look, like really play around in a detached, non-trying way. Take that occasional look at your soul and oversoul while this is going on. To feel that feeling through your heart of your purpose, to feel your particular, not just purpose, but pre-assigned soul task based on your soul talents and abilities unique to you, filling your piece of the puzzle. And as we all do that, the synergy of which radically accelerates but also smooths planetary liberation, which we've been doing for years and has resulted in at least two sources, reliable external intel sources, saying things are ahead of schedule. I never expected things to happen so quickly. I'll get into the details of that in the coming Ground Crew Command radio episode, hopefully, in the next few days. And now we go deep underground through the crust of the North Pole, and you see more of that baby blue, pristine goddess color, getting rid of this absolute garbage that has soiled her sacred body, which the 144K has adopted a zero tolerance policy. And move, again, see things in a translucent way, but focus on the white light, transmuting, not necessarily pushing back, transmuting the immense, incredibly fear-charged greyness or blackness, ranging from Gaia's outer auric layers, which is well outside her atmosphere, way outside her atmosphere, and within her actual physical body, third and fourth density, dissolving all that we set the intent on, which is anything and everything, entities, energies, technologies, grids, garbage that stands between us and unconditional planetary liberation and freedom and galactic family contact, let alone physical reunion. That's the algorithm we've certainly set within our right hemisphere brains, the ultimate, which is like the ultimate search engine. Okay, I think I'm feeling her. Gaia, that is. Yep. Again, see things as you see fit regarding the quarantine sphere, all the grayness or blackness, the layers of it, from low Earth orbit through to underground, whatever it is keeping us captive here. Entities, including entities within the auric fields of humanity on the physical surface. Move it downwards. As we move into Scandinavia, Siberia, again, see the baby blue physical surface within this, again, within this massive white transmutational satellite dish kind of bowl deep within it, because we're clearing Gaia's outer auric layers and whatever garbage has been placed there. and see the baby blue of her crust, physical plane crust. See it translucent if you can. It doesn't have to be baby blue. It can be your color of choice, or whatever color is shown to you by your soul, oversoul, and I am. And just move it downwards. So any baby blue of the crust area looks like glass, and you can still see the white light penetrating downwards. Play around with angles, play around with the background color of the quarantine sphere and this massive bowl of transmutational light that's simply taking no prisoners, because enough's enough. Just gently move down, transmuting like nobody's business. And that's still quite the understatement. Again, we're only limited by our consciousness level. So if it helps the rational left hemisphere brain, imagine the cosmic divine form of 1,000,001 500 megaton nuclear bombs. I prefer the term love bombs, going off constantly every second at the same time. That's what our collective I am delivers, to deliver freedom, restore love, bring healing, radically accelerating with a lot. Make it happen by being that detached, silent witness. On at least one occasion, I have had third-party verification that have no idea about what we did when we started using this I am behemoth method, that there was a massive tidal wave of light which drove the dark ones crazy, the dark ones on the physical plane, that is. So I am, being kind of empirical and scientific about this sort of thing. As we move into, in terms of latitude, or is it longitude, through Canada, down to the southern coast of Greenland, through Central Europe, where we're cleansing and healing the mass multi-layered pain body of the collective as well. That is weighing down ascension, infecting Gaia's emotional body at a minimum. It's all got to go. But by doing it this way, the cosmic divine light is received a lot more gracefully. Humanity can receive and accrete a lot more light. Because that's been the main hold-up to planetary liberation. Thank God for the 144K. And I know I'm not being too biased. Now, this stuff does dissolve portals as we move down to the Ukraine area. Now, for those of you subscribed to Cobra, you know that the subquantum anomaly, what's left of it, needs to go and transmuted back to divine, graceful, source, field, vacuum. Where it's all source, there's no space. Therefore, there's no time. There's no distance between anything. It's all source, filling all spaces in between, all including subspace. So we're filling subspace as well. We're focusing on subspace, which is what wormholes travel through that have so much dark within them. So it's not just regular time space, it's subspace, or should I say, yeah, subspace. And the subquantum, quantum and subquantum levels of the third, second, and first density. As we move through into southern Europe, you can see deep within this massive expanding bowl, satellite dish bowl moving inwards, more of the blue, of the glassy blue, of gaze crust. And you slowly work your way through to the Mediterranean Sea level, down to southern Canada, clearing entities, dark energies, grids, networks, anomaly, wormholes and portals. Again, the algorithm, search algorithm or intent has been set on anything and everything that stands between us and planetary liberation and galactic contact. Anything and everything. Your right hemisphere brain, connected with the right intent, and your I am, knows it all, shows it all. You just make sure you transmute it. Again, the heaviest concentration of dark energy and entities and wormholes and portals and garbage and technologies, layers and layers of fields, is the lower atmosphere through to underground, especially the surface. As you continue to witness, I'll be silent for a few minutes. As you continue to maintain this focus, visual, and intent to transmute en masse. You can see the occasional micro image of either an entity or a portal or a wormhole, particularly throughout the atmosphere and underground, through to underground, which is where the heaviest concentration of all this garbage is. You can take that occasional micro image of portal, wormhole, entity, dark energies just being turned white briefly and disappeared. And hold that visual in a detached, not trying, deep, calm, meditative state. The intent has been set. Hold that connecting consciousness to actualize in that complete, non-trying way. Well done. Again, where if you're new, we're squeezing in the realm of 200 or 300, shall we say, conventional mass meditations into one. That's why we work the way we work. Congratulations, 144K. For the umpteenth time, I suppose. Maintain focus, maintain visual. It's going to be silent while you go deep and meditative and hold visual. Stand for the light, for love, for freedom, in a detached, non-trying way. So one of the profound positive ramifications of what we're doing in such a focused way and sustained way is all energetic structures down to the quantum and subquantum level, when it's filled with source, essentially, and there's no void between particles of any kind, and even within particles, it's all source, meaning there's no distance anymore between things. It's all one, back to oneness again. Any negative intent or dark actions backfires on them far quicker, almost instantaneously, the more we do this, which accelerates their demise and end, accelerates our liberation. Now that's quite a boatload of benefit, let's just say. Now let's all go, and again, you don't have to, don't use your rational mind at all when I say this, trying to figure it out. Just go with your right hemisphere image that you receive. It does not have to be spick and span perfect or vivid. Faint works just as well. Abstract always seems to work well. That's why anyone can do this. So, allow the right hemisphere of your brain to deliver to you the image, or should I say, the outer boundary of this white transmutational light that continues to spread to reach the US-Canada border and Southern Europe, Southern Ukraine, reaching that level. And when we reach the Southern Hemisphere, that'll be a lot quicker, because the Northern Hemisphere, that's where the majority, 80% of the world's population is. Therefore, there's far more, I'll use the term pain body, there that needs to be cleansed and transmuted. And because you're going deep in that meditative state, take that, refresh the intent by looking up at your soul, oversoul, I am, the heart, etc. Say, clear all portals, wormholes, dark energies, technologies, entities. A sense between us and freedom, planetary liberation. As again, that bowl or satellite dish shaped wall of transmutational energy, it moves through the crust and into underground as if there's nothing there. This radically speeds up the clearing of the dumbs, for example. And see, again, deep within it all, this massive concave whiteness transmuting the dark grey, the grey membranes, layers of it, which is technologies, really AI technologies, let alone the thicker, more concentrated blackness throughout the atmosphere and surface of Gaia, move backward because it's being transmuted with the equivalent of 1 million nuclear bombs going off constantly every second. Reaching the Caribbean now, cleansing the ley lines, the auric fields of humanity, the surface dense energies that's more concentrated in the populated areas. Reaching Southern California level, reaching North Africa. And moving it down. Moving down China, that level. Coming closer and closer to the equator. All together now. You don't have to stick perfectly to what I verbalized, but thereabouts is still good. Well done, you're doing well. Zoom in, zoom out. You can see the whole quarantine sphere, your I am. Powerful energetic skills you're learning here. Yeah, I feel, oh gosh, she's beautiful. Again, I felt another kind of like a pulse of Gaia, a pulse of her energy. When I specifically focused on her, right deep in the middle of this, the holographic light blue, which is her physical surface and downward, it's deep within this huge bowl or satellite dish of white light. That's clearing layers of the veil, technologies, fields, creating resistance, making life difficult, making ascension difficult, well into almost halfway between the Earth's surface and the moon. Remember, her aura extends a fair way out. We need to cleanse her emotional body, among other things, and we're making it happen. As we're coming closer and closer to the equator, and always remember, this allows light forces, physical and non-physical, to make dramatic, faster and bigger moves. Allowing more light to reach the surface. Including the light emanated from beautiful giant motherships of the Galactic and Intergalactic Confederation. As we're about to approach the equator, and remember, in whatever way works for you, because some of you, per your soul purpose and talents, are good at spotting and closing portals and wormholes. As we approach, as we pass the Yucatan Peninsula, moving closer and closer towards Panama, let's make it happen. Now remember, the equator is where Ecuador is, which is just below Colombia. We're making unprecedented steps to leave no stone unturned, no conduit for darkness. As we're approaching the northern shoreline of Venezuela, which is actually above Panama, and central China and mid-level of the Sahara. Apparently there's black magicians in Venezuela and negative portals and wormholes, which would explain the accretion of dark energies in Venezuela that therefore result in the physical outer reflection, which is squalor, let alone poverty and lawlessness throughout Venezuela. That's an indicator that there's dark portals and wormholes in Venezuela, including Colombia as well, that whole region. So let's make sure that's dealt with, because that's come up as a bit of an issue this past few weeks. Cleansing. All right. Now, if it works for you, that whole Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru region was once called the Grand Colombia. There's a reason why the Jesuits and bloodlines were extremely aggressive and deliberate in taking those regions over through their agents known as the conquistadors, because there's major stuff over there that they wanted to access to further their dark agenda, and that includes dark portals and wormholes. Close them up. See the white light, just zap them, dissolve them. Moving through Venezuela and Colombia. Again, see things per your soul talents, the way you're built to fulfill, that's designed to fulfill your purpose, unique to you. Allow the uniqueness of your soul purpose, soul talents come through by ironically letting go even more and being the silent witness through that simple intent. Again, the only limitation is, as always, the conditioned left hemisphere brain. So bypass that by non-trying, by so-called imagination, detachment, to be able to go beyond your reference points or level of consciousness, because that's the only limiting factor here. Everything else is real. Closing, moving through Venezuela and Colombia over to sub-Saharan Africa, coming close to the equator, which is Ecuador, which is just below Colombia, clearing all dark, any shape, form, or kind, density. We need this broad sweep because of how much the CMEs and cosmic light has kicked up. Okay, moving into Central Africa, through the Middle East, through India, southern China, through Venezuela and now into Ecuador, which is where the equator is. So now deep within that white transmutational satellite dish shaped light moving, transmitting the dark before it, you'll see deep within that, pretty small, you'll see the glassy, translucent, baby blue color of Gaia's physical surface. Again, your I am, when you're working deliberately with it, let alone your consciousness, is omnipresent by nature. Accept it. So you can see whatever you want from whatever angle you want. Like I said, it's always good to play around with imagery with a limitless attitude of a child. So powerful. Again, your consciousness or level of consciousness is the only limiting factor. As we move through and past the equator, and the rest will go much quicker, as only 20% of the world's population is below the equator. Again, take the occasional glance up at your I am and at least two of the HOD in the background on either side. That's still enough. And if you've only been able to focus within the atmosphere through to underground or Gaia, that's still good. That might be your sole purpose. Moving downwards. Faster now. Reaching Northern Australia, reaching Argentina, South Africa, cleansing, purifying, and therefore bringing source in, even at the sub-quantum level, even at subspace level. Really getting down there. Okay, moving down, reaching New Zealand now through the South Pacific where Lemuria was. Down to Southern Australia. Reaching Southern Argentina. You don't have to be a geographical expert here. Trust in the image, your intent and right hemisphere brain is already providing you. It's more about receiving the imagery or quote unquote imagining it after once you know the right intent to set. Again, this also allows the light forces, physical and non-physical, terrestrial or non-terrestrial, to see much more, spot and clear much more. Again, this is from third-party verification, albeit anecdotally. Okay, moving to the shoreline of Antarctica. Feels like the planet is being rebirthed again, to be honest. Again, I am interested in your feedback, even if it doesn't exactly correlate with what I verbalize in the Telegram chat, because this is important. This is a big deal. Alrighty. Moving to the shoreline of Africa. And I'm just making sure the outer auric negative layers, well outside gaze atmosphere, is being cleared. Pardon me, always a good sign there. Really cleansing, purifying. Yeah. And what we're already doing is also clearing frequency fences, is a good way to put it. Preventing not just frequencies, but supplies in the metaphoric, energetic, and literal sense from reaching starseeds on the surface. We're clearing that barrier as well. Okay, as the light converges and reaches the shores and moves through the shorelines of Antarctica, receive that image through the intent you've already set in whatever way works for you. And the rays of our collective I am, your I am, is barely still touching the upper atmosphere above the North Pole, because it doesn't need to. It's so incredibly massive. As all layers of darkness, anomalous energies, negative reversed energies, entities, layers of technologies, brains, veils, etc., even within subspace, being transmuted. And it's all converging, kind of like a upright cone shaped from way outside the outer, well, low Earth orbit through to underground, converging on Antarctica. Converging, see it in whatever way your sole purpose and talents shows it to you per your intent via the right hemisphere of your brain. This is science. Removing all barriers, frequency offenses, closing, converging in the heart of of Antarctica. Okay. And close it all up. The light, like a thin, narrow cone, upright cone, sort of closes beneath Antarctica. And closes all the way down to Gaia's outer auric layers. All right. Now see, again, don't think to bypass the rational mind so that you can see easily, because time is more of a simultaneous thing, not a linear thing. In other words, instantly see motherships predominantly throughout Gaia's atmosphere, low Earth orbit, and atmosphere. And the more deeper into the atmosphere they are, the smaller they are. Otherwise, it interferes with Gaia's natural organic electromagnetism. See beams of light, codes being sent to the populated areas of the world, namely where starseeds reside, and see codes being sent. This is a positive version of matrix codes, if I can put it that way. And this is the initial energetic pathway of care packages, is one 3D description of it. Care packages being delivered to us, starseeds, beginning with active starseeds, and then expanding out to inactive starseeds to make them active. Remember, we're all part of one team, one organization, family, whatever you pick your term, between us and our galactic brethren with a capital B. And see initially your part of the world with not just frequencies, but divine codes, divine scalar wave programs programmed by our intent of, again, the 3D translation of care packages is the best word I have for you, to us, starseeds. Okay. Now I'm going to have to take a a tactical approach here. That I haven't done for quite a while. And I'm going to have to give specific instructions to goddesses and to gods. So predominantly, not entirely, but predominantly men and women. If you're a goddess / woman, well, there's a 95% chance you'll be in a woman's body. Focus on these ships, most of them spherical or disc-shaped motherships, beaming frequency codes, divine codes, that essentially reconstructs the matrix for the personal holograms of us active starseeds initially. Nurturing. There's all sorts of words, 3D words we can use here, so I'm just going to have to do my best and run with it. Don't analyze or judge. Frequency codes that carry the energies of and also construct holographic realities of nurturing, reception of supplies, in all, even at physical levels. So physical levels is food, currency, meaning money, abundance. All these divine codes that you won't understand because it's essentially kind of like light language, beam down in golden beams down to the populated areas, beginning with your area, beginning with you, and through the grids. This is matrix reconstruction back to divine alignment in real time. You are actualizing, and do that in whatever way works for you. I usually like to flip between micro image of a codes, light language type codes being beamed down from a mothership down to you. And that macro image, you're seeing all these giant motherships, spheres for the most part, all around Gaia. The continents being with these golden beams down into the continents, the populated areas. Okay, if you're a man, go over, because your consciousness already is everywhere already, to the galactic central sun. Draw source, a pillar of source magenta light from the galactic central sun, and just say, source, come through now. Pull it out through. See it zip through the spiral arms. Racing through nebulas, through the spiral arms, through whatever. Towards our zodiac. Through our zodiac. Our little portion. Where our, I don't know, second spiral arm perhaps. Again, your right hemisphere brain will show you. You just have to receive the image. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. Now see the zodiac. Most of you have seen that astrological chart wheel. And just hold your intent so that your right hemisphere brain can actually do it. Of pulling the magenta pillar of light through Sagittarius. 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And you can see it represented by the horse and archer in this outer membrane of the zodiac, representing the astrological chart. Underneath the number 27, within that abstract representation of Sagittarius, of the horse and archer. Yes, it's that simple. Because you can't do this when you project your consciousness from the physical to the non-physical. Unique to us here on the physical surface. Pull it through. Through. Towards your part of the world. While reaching the outer solar system, past Pluto, past Uranus. Actually, past Neptune, I'm sorry. Neptune, Uranus, Jupiter. God says you keep on doing what you're doing. Past Saturn, through the asteroid field. Mars, racing towards towards Earth, past the moon, towards the atmosphere of your part of the world, into your part of the world, through your auric field, your entire field, and see your holographic body and outer auric field, toroidal field, in whatever color you want, translucent, within this magenta. See it pierce through into the grids, lighting up the surrounding grids big time. Into the core of Gaia, which is not that far away at all, lighting up the core of Gaia, upgrading it even more. And now spread this magenta beyond the golden glow of Gaia's core. Spread the magenta. It'll have that golden light language translucent membrane on the outer edge of this expanding, slowly expanding magenta. Racing towards, through inner Earth, upgrading everything, cleansing everything, next level, rewriting everything, reaching the lower crust, where the dumbs are, see it all holographically. And now, because of what we did, that insane level of cleansing and clearing, Gaia and humanity, let alone the surface area, can receive minimum 10 times more light of source and hold the intent of feeling all quantum particles, subquantum levels of the second and first density, physical plane, and subspace, so spaces between space, with source, removing all distance and separation from anything and everything, to truly make us all one. Rewriting reality, rewriting the matrix back to the divine matrix construct as originally intended by source, and begin to move through the crust, this magenta, with the golden light language outer outer membrane, translucent, thin, so you can see the membrane, the magenta within it, moving through a far more cleansed surface crust and surface area and lower atmosphere area, moving it through, coming close to bursting through the surface, lighting up the grids, see the grids lit up in whatever way works for you. Cleansing all anomaly, purifying all anomaly at the quantum and subquantum level, filling all so-called space with source so that there is no space per se in between particles. And now ready to burst through the surface. Bursting through the surface. Okay, she appreciated that. Rewriting reality, fueling everything with source down to the subquantum level and subspace level, subspace, where dark wormholes would travel through. Moving through into the lower atmosphere, guidances keep on beaming away the energy, frequency, and intent of care packages, beginning with Starseeds. Beam it right through the surface areas, lighting up the grids as well, or where Starseeds are, beaming away. Okay, men, keep on moving that golden rewriting source language, reconstructing, more like returning the matrix back to divine alignment through the lower atmosphere, rebuilding structure back to the divine masculine alignment. Down into the upper atmosphere, because that's a lot of distance, and into Gaia's outer auric layers, which is beyond the surface, beyond the atmosphere, almost to the moon, moving it out, expanding it, and expanding it. You can see it reach the moon if you want. Hold a bit of background consciousness on the magenta pillar of light moving through your system. That into Gaia's core, cleansing you as well. Okay. Goddesses, for a brief minute, see, visualize, feel as if supplies in whatever form that you and Starseeds commonly need them, even if it's as simple as money, see that. Send down the golden light language frequencies of financial abundance to expand our power and influence within the physical 3D realm. Feel it, see it, imagine it. You all know how to do that old metaphysical practice. And now step back and just let it flow. Keep this up. As we're pretty much done, maintain the visual. Some of you are grid specialists per your soul talent and purpose. Light up the grids. Light it up big time. All these golden rainbow colored goddessy crisscrossing lines. You can just use the ley lines if that's your only reference point. Totally fine. Light it up. We are ascending. A big timeline jump in real time is what we have actualized. Congratulations, 144K. Big time. We're done. You can stop or finish when you feel like it, because I know some of you are just loving this. And as we hold a brief visual, know that the solstices and equinoxes are always a big closing chapters and conversely opening chapters of the next cycle of time. But this one was a big one. This was the beginning. Well, actually, it's already started, but anyway, the beginning of a huge closure and ending of several different cycles. Solar cycles, galactic and universal and even multiversal cycles of closure, endings, to allow the beginnings to begin. And that'll continue to be consolidated throughout January, because that's the transitional month into the 1 year where it's new beginnings. And this new moon, where we're still within its influence and time period of, that's all about new beginnings. But the closure had to happen in a far more accelerated and gentle way. Otherwise, January, if you think December was rough, wait till you see January if we didn't do what we just did. Again, the harsh energies, especially over the past few weeks as the cosmic winds really came in, is almost all from resistance. External and internal resistance of whatever form, kind, or shape throughout Gaia and humanity's internal pain body. It just kicks it all up, the darkness within it, causing resistance. We feel that everything sucks. This dissolves that. It's a lot more than just upgrading the timelines and allowing the light forces to do way more, way faster. Is to bring gentleness, goddess grace back by better accreting and conducting the incoming ascension light. So well done, everybody. Zoom out. Thank you, I am. Thank the teams. Thank your soul, oversoul. Literally. Gratitude always has its place. And now see Gaia in the quarantine sphere holographically in dark sort of colors and just move a wave of white light, removing or holding the intent of removing all your energetic traces, calling back your tracks, just for that extra thin layer of security as an extra precaution. The main precaution being the quarantine sphere that we begin with. Return your consciousness fully back into the room that you're in. And as always, feel by accepting the reality of the immense gratitude from the teams, all the way from Source down to the Pleiadians, Syrians, Vegans, Procyon, all Jupiter Command, Astra Command, all their gratitude. Feel them. Their sincere salutes and gratitude, because it saves a lot of their lives, let alone of the positive military. This helps saves a lot of their lives in their operations by clearing the way for them to do what they need to do. It helps their operations go, like I said, quicker and smoother. Now, leave your feedback. Let's get the conversation going in the Telegram chat, 144K Telegram chat, preferably, because my inbox is ridiculous at the moment. And yeah, I want to hear what you saw per your unique soul talents and pre-assigned task. And feel the love in your heart from all that is. And I'm not exaggerating here, literally from all that is, a lot more than just Source. Thank you, Hod. Thank you, YM. Thank you, everyone. A big salute of recognition and respect to every single one of you. You've got so much to be proud of. As sadly, after close this 144K mass intervention. It's been huge. I look forward to your comments, regardless of whether it more correlated with what I verbalized or not, because we all see different things per our soul talents and pre-assigned task for this solstice. Like every 144K mass intervention. So let's hear from you, and well done. Big time. That can't be overstated. Love to you all. This is your lovely downline light warrior, bringing along with you closure to a massive cleansing, detoxing 9-year, which is all about endings and releasing and closure, which is 2025. That totals 9. Opening up the way to a phenomenal, comparatively way more gentler, positive 2026, a 1-year. New beginnings. Let's make it happen and look forward to the updates over the next couple of days. It's huge. Really positive news. We have moved things forward. And I'll explain that shortly. Watch your inbox. Okay. Bye for now, and big hugs to all of you, dear brothers and sisters. This is your loving servant, the Online Light Warrior, signing off for now.